Hello, Yeti Nation. Thank you so much for joining us this week on Yeti Talks.
Hello, Yeti Nation. What's up, everybody? Great to see you and hopefully talk to some people tonight, Beach.
Yeah, hoping to get a visit from the Westminster Wild. Is he the GM for the Wild? Is that
GM Brady Stippy. I hate saying names and boggling them up, so
is it
I'll try
Sipes?
to Stipe maybe. I could probably go back to the national championship, and I bet you I said it 4 different times at the national championship.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I tell you, that team they've got is a pretty exciting team, and I got to film them down in Delaware too. That was a great team. They pretty handily won that tournament down there.
That's what talking to the boys. They said they're no joke. They're no joke. They definitely have been playing together for a while. I believe a bunch of them went to college together, and off of that, they got into the box lacrosse and started traveling.
Well, I mean, and you can't talk about the Wild without talking about Spencer Love there doing the backflips on
Doing the
the.
backflips.
That was impressive.
The goalie was very good at the national championship as well, from what I remember. He was making some sick saves as well.
Yeah, no, they
I
were all around just an amazing team. I mean, they did great out at the Nationals. I would assume, unless the Golden Bears, I mean, they are obviously hoping to be able to beat them, but I mean, they have some stiff competition out in that division for in the NABLL, that's for sure.
That's absolutely for sure, no question there. As far as the battle on the barge, they're the showpiece in regards to the out of towners. We have the other New York State teams. We have the Collar City Kings are coming up. They're confirmed. Oswego Riverhawks, they're 100% confirmed, and the Utica Yeti are confirmed. And I'm pretty excited. As far as we'll have 2 games on Saturday, each team will play each other. Obviously, 2 games on Saturday and then one on Sunday. So we're still working the youth program. We're still got about 3-4 teams of the youth program. We haven't done a great job of getting that word out there, but you want to know what? At this point in time, if we can get a filler game here and there, that would be awesome. If we can't, then you want to know what? The show goes on, and it's NABLL.
It's yeah. So I mean, the NABLL's got a lot going on. We've actually this weekend you're going to be going out to with a few guys from the Yeti. We're going to head out to Alex Bay, and they're putting on like a showcase out there.
Yeah, yeah. As far as April 2nd, Sunday, April 2nd at 2 o'clock, Nate Jobson in the Thousand Island Spirits invited everybody in the league to, if they can, to send up some players, and we're going to have a showcase to the local people in the Thousand Islands in regards to what box lacrosse is. They have obviously a lot of field lacrosse up there, but box lacrosse it's growing, and they're excited. They're having a youth clinic, I believe, from
It's
second graders to 12th graders, just to give a showing of the box game, and then afterwards at 2 o'clock we're facing off. Shot clocks are loaded. Everything's loaded up, ready to go have some fun up north.
Yeah, it's a free clinic that they're running, and he sent me the flyer today. So the registration for the free clinic, they'll be there at 12:15. 12:30 is the clinic of the introduction to box lacrosse for everybody up in the area. That's a new arena, and they put in. He's got the turf in there. That's a pretty nice setup. I've seen a couple photos so far.
Yeah, I was watching last night. They had their live stream going. He was live streaming their pickup and everything. And I talked to Chris, one of the goalies, and said it was a beautiful facility. He said a little dim, kind of similar to Kennedy Arena last year with the lighting. It's a little dim, but he said other than that, it's a gorgeous facility.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I used to play hockey up there. I played Bonnie Castle. That was an older rink, but I tell you, that was a beautiful barn. Had a little hockey shop right in there. I loved the area up there. When he told
it
me
is.
that's where he was from, I couldn't wait. So I'm excited to drive out there. And it's actually the day before my I'm going to get the hip surgery, so it should be my last trip. We're going to be spending for a little while in the car for about 2 weeks, and then of course we're firing up for tryouts. But uh, want to talk about tryouts a little bit? I know you're probably looking for some youngsters to kind of get up and show you what you got, but I mean you've got a nice group of leaders that have been on the team for a while. You were just talking to one of them today. I believe it disconnected our phone call. How is Jimmy Fay doing in Fay Farms?
Jimmy Fay is doing well. He's been actually rehabbing a little bit. He had a groin issue coming out of the PBLA, so he's been nursing it a little bit. And I got so many different names in my mind real quick. Jesse DeMays, they came up Tuesday night for pickup, and it was great to see them both. They're as happy as a lark. They're fired up. They're pumped up. It looks like we have somebody that's entering. Hello, Brady.
Well, fellas, how are you guys doing?
Awesome. Welcome to Yeti Nation.
I'm happy to be here. I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot. I'm sitting there driving home, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I gotta run inside and hop on this call."
I was running late myself. I had a contractor. We had frozen pipes from a month or so ago, and my contractor was at the house, and I'm like, "All right, you got to go. It's time for you to. Thanks for coming over. I love you. See you later. Get a guy go."
Hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
We get it done. That's how it works. We get it done. Well, I want to introduce you. I don't know if Greg's out there, if you can see Greg or not. I know he's fitting
Up in the
people
corner.
in. He's over in the corner,
Yeah.
but Greg, Brady, how do you say your last name? Sites?
Sight.
Sight.
Okay. See, I got it right. I'm a little bit better at pronouncing things than Paul generally is. He's not really who we go to for grammar, that's for sure. But congratulations, you and your team won the NABLL. I mean, for the inaugural year, you must have been pretty happy with that outcome, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Obviously, going into it, we
Oh, break it up a little bit. Paul, can you hear what he's saying?
It was a little scrambled from what I could hear.
anybody.
A little bit.
You're kind of cutting in and out there.
We're going old school.
Yeah,
I
no
know how
headphones. Give him a minute here. He'll be back. Not yet, but you're muted now. It looks like you got your mic off. You
You're
probably just got to
muted.
change the mic in the settings.
There you go. How
Is that
about now?
any
There we go.
Nailed it.
Now,
There you go.
money.
All right, we'll go old school. We'll ditch the headphones. But no, it was awesome. It was a great time. Obviously, we didn't really know what to expect going into it. So the year before with the IBLA, we knew there was a ton of good teams, and we threw together a team last second, and we were like, hey, let's start playing some box and get into this league. So we joined the IBLA and went really well here. We had four different teams, and we ended up, going undefeated in the regular season, and then going and playing the Bears in the championship, and they spanked us. So we kind of got punched in the mouth a little bit. So they went to the IBLA nationals, and we were upset about that, obviously. So we started the next season and just said, hey, let's get back after it. We were just happy to have a league, honestly. And the season went great. Obviously this season we sharpened up some things so that way we could play some teams out of region, because it was getting a little boring playing the same team, 3-4 different times throughout a season. And then finally we made it to nationals and could play some other teams. So I think that's actually what kind of got us a little bit excited. We were like, hey, we finally get to face some new people, because we played the Arrows 4 times and the Bears 4 times. And then we were like, all right, give us somebody else to play. But no, yeah, going to nationals, I mean, the boys played incredible. I was actually a year before nationals, I booked my bachelor party, and it was the same weekend as nationals. So of course, landed on the same weekend. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it, but in Texas, I had the game streaming the entire time, and was throwing back some booze and cheering on the boys, and it was incredible to watch them play. They played very well. I think the best part about it was, I mean, obviously everybody knows going into it, like, we're new. Maryland's not known for box lacrosse, and in Maryland right now, box lacrosse isn't really that big. There's the league that we play in, and then we have the Bill, which used to be big. It's not really that big anymore. We're trying to make it bigger. But in terms of box lacrosse, it's not really huge here, which sucks because we love playing box lacrosse. Field is massive. Field runs everything here in Maryland. And I think going into the tournament, obviously we had some, I think it was the Wheat Kings. We're going to hold it against them. But they were saying, oh, they're from Maryland. They think they're good at lacrosse. Let's see how they play. And we're like, sounds good.
Ring dang, ring dang.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
definitely did. You guys had a great showing out there. The field, though, you can see you guys have a very, very fast team. I mean, a lot of young athletic players flying up the floor.
yeah. I think that when we play against the teams here in Maryland, they're very similar. So it's very funny because when we first started playing box, shout out to Slater Bender. When we first started playing box here, he started the Maryland Bucks, and this is like the first time we all played indoor lacrosse. It was never box; it was indoor lacrosse. No hard picks. You're getting penalized if you set a hard pick and all that. So we never really played true box lacrosse, and he started that team. He actually came from the Louisville Canards and moved down to Maryland and started this, Bucks team. And the only time we ever went and traveled and played was in Steelyard, which is in
Philadelphia, just outside Philly.
Just outside Philly, yeah.
Persia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. King of Prussia, whatever that
Prussia.
is.
Yeah, something like that. Persia, Prussia.
Wherever the big mall is.
That's right.
But no, we went and took some teams up there, and we were playing as Little Abners. So we played as the Bucks at first, went up there. Our team was good. It's just a bunch of, ragtag people we threw together. And then a couple of us that grew up playing together were like, hey, why don't we, take Little Abners as what we played like our indoor lacrosse team as and enter some of these box tournaments. And then from Little Abners, we're like, hey, why don't we create an IBLA team? So that's kind of what it turned into. But it's funny because we were talking to the refs who, were the referees watching us as the Bucks and then watching us as Little Abners and then watching us as the Wild. And it took us 3 tournaments. So the first one played as the Bucks. It was all right. Obviously, we weren't great. Second one, we played as Little Abners, and the teams were like, they're a field team. Like, they're good. They have talent, but they're a field team. So they kind of knew, hey, let them shoot from the outside. We'll save it. We'll pick it up. We'll go down to the other end. We'll score. Just keep letting them shoot from the outside. So we didn't really know what to do. We're just like, all right, let's just keep doing it. We lost, and then we finally entered in as the Wild, and the ref, after the first game, came over to us and was like, you guys learned how to play. He's like,
down in Dover. That was down in Dover last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's like, you guys learned how to play box.
Yeah.
Like, congrats.
Yeah, you guys were hot last year going into that tournament down in Dover. I remember watching. We were there. Go on.
It's funny though. It's just we're obviously trying to grow the game here. Kids like growing up here, box is not like, hey, go play box lacrosse. It's just not a thing. It's go play indoor when you're not playing field. And even when you're playing indoor here, it's field, just smaller. It's just it's not box lacrosse. So we're really this year trying to set up ways to reach out and get kids to actually start playing box lacrosse because, obviously you look at the pros right now and who are the best people in outdoor in the pros in the PLL? They're all box guys, I mean, most of them.
Yeah, there's
especially with going to sixes, because that's all it is it's taking box lacrosse and putting it on a bigger field and
giving the goalie less pads and I mean,
a huge fan.
For high scoring games, there's definitely a lot of scoring, and I don't know. I think the rebound adds such an aspect to the game that's underrated. And as far as picking up the loose ball fast in the crease and like in traffic and learning to deal with that, I don't think there's anything like box lacrosse to really learn that.
Yeah, and poor goalies. You see the picture of the guy's legs
Oh,
after
oh,
the
he was meat. He was tenderized. I was like, what
It's like
the poor kid.
yeah.
That's a blood clot waiting to happen is what that is, the amount of rubber they're getting. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
seriously. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
felt bad for him, but he loved it.
He loves it. I'm sure he's sitting there going, oh, look at this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, every
crazy.
goalie should play box lacrosse because it takes a special type of psycho to step in there for those games.
Yeah, especially to take one like you see them putting their head in the way of it, and my natural reaction, you close your eyes and kind of grin and bear it, and they just duck into it, smack
Yep,
you.
Yeah.
they're like, yeah. My brother, he played D1 at Bellarmine. He was a goalie at Bellarmine, and he was actually the goalie for the Canards. So I have to give him big credit because without him introducing me to box lacrosse, the Wild might not be here today. Because 2 years ago when the IBLA had their nationals in where was it,
Well, yeah.
Pittsburgh?
Original. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Pittsburgh.
was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey," because I was going to go there and watch him play. He's like, "Hey, you want to play?" And I'm like, "I've never played box across my life. I'm going to get killed out there." He's like, "Well, just come play. Like, we need people. Just come suit up." I'm like, "All right, sounds good." So that's the first time I ever played. My brother's 10 years older than me. So first time I ever played with my brother on the same team, and he just throws me into IBLA nationals, and I was just like, "Wow, this is awesome. I'm having a lot of fun out here."
Yeah. Yeah, the banging nips. As far as that's what I miss. I'm a little older. I'm 52. So when I was growing up playing field lacrosse, because there was no box lacrosse, you could bang people. You had a 5-yard run and clear crease. You can't clear
Yeah,
crease. There's none of that anymore. I've been knocked out so many times from being hit on a legal hit, but just a solid crusher, and it's a penalty now. And it's like,
yeah,
I understand the safety. I get the safety, but you want to know what? There's a reason why we're playing.
yeah, exactly.
Let us play.
I think, yeah,
let the guys play. And box lacrosse gives you that.
yeah, I
To
think,
the ultimate, where if you've been wronged, you can justify the wrongness, and you may not play the rest of the day, but you can at least feel justified.
yeah, I think it goes back into just where we are at in, I guess America right now. It's like when people play these sports, they put the helmet on and they know what they're getting into. They play the sport their whole life, like in football. It's like, how are you going to tell a cornerback to let up when he's running full speed at this guy and last second he either catches it or he doesn't catch it and you need to pull back or you need to destroy him. Like there's no like we're all athletes, we all have that killer mentality, like you're hitting that person and that's just the way it
Yeah, that's the game. As far as to hit a defensive, don't catch the ball. That's my theory. Is don't go across the middle. I played football. Don't come
is. Yeah,
across the middle. Then, if you don't want to be hit, don't come across the middle. And that's what
yeah,
it kind of brings me back to the football, where you want to what a guy going through crease. He's taking that middle out. If he's a good crease clearer, he's going to take two guys out and open up a shot for somebody. That's what I love about it. Where field lacrosse, you got to stand there and just be the absorber.
yeah,
The physical
That's no fun.
contact, I think it's way closer to football than anything else. When I watch these NLL teams play 2 games in a weekend, like a Friday, Sunday game, or even Friday, Saturday, some of these teams, it's like that's got to be brutal. Those guys are and they're so fast and it's all going. Yeah, that's just so much physical contact in there.
It's fun.
yeah. I mean, we don't have a ton of hockey here in Maryland and I've like envious of it because I love the Caps, I love watching hockey, and I never grew up around it here in Maryland. So I just it's incredible what those guys can do on skates, and they're moving so fast. I'm like, getting hit in hockey must be absolutely insane.
Oh yeah.
It can be pretty brutal. That was my background actually. I was a hockey player and I played field for Paul and we kind of hooked up and started doing this. But you guys were down in that Delaware tournament and you guys dominated in that too. That was a pretty good showing from at least on the championship day when I was down there.
Oh, so you were there this past year?
Yeah, I filmed the championship day for it. The
Oh, okay,
streams are on
cool.
the YouTube. Yeah, yeah, that was a
Yeah, I
great
mean,
great game. You guys kind of they were hoping it was going to be a little closer. They had a couple young kids on that team, but I mean it was a good game.
Yeah, we played the first day, and then we obviously all got a place to stay there because like any other team, we're not a team that like goes and obviously we're there to play to win, but we're not going to bed at 7, waking up, and it's like we went out, we had a fun night, we went back, hung out with the guys, woke up and we're all like, all right, let's go play some lacrosse, and we were fired up because obviously us and the Bears, we have a little bit of a rivalry because of that first year. So
That was
like,
explained to me by one of the Golden Bears players down there. He was not happy. He's like, our game was yesterday, and yeah, not impressed with it. But he's like, we'll get him back. Yeah, I did not
yeah,
realize you guys were rivals like that till I got down there and talked to a couple of their guys.
yeah, that game gets pretty gritty when we play each other. We do not like each other. We both know that we don't like each other, and it's known on the field. So I think we ended up beating them. We beat the Bang City team the first game, I think 15-1, which like I was not expecting that. I told my guys, I'm like, these guys are good. These guys are amazing. And it was just the first game of the day, 10 o'clock. I think they just got a slow start. And then we woke up that next day and played the Bears the first game. And we were like, all right, we need to put up more points than we put up yesterday. And I think we did. I think we ended up beating them like 16-4. And so that's always, I think that was the tone setter for the day. We're like, all right, let's win this thing. Let's
Yeah,
go.
we're out of tear now. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. It's always good to beat the Bears.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great group. Now, so how many teams is it in the division you've got? There's 4 of you.
Yeah, so now, unfortunately, we really wish that the Bombers would play, but there's a little. I don't know why they're not playing. They're ran by the guy who runs the bill. Whatever reason, they always field a good team. A bunch of like JUCO guys. He puts together a lot of like scrapsters, and they're always solid. So I wish they would play. We could have 5 teams, but this year we have the Arrows, the Bears, the Wild, and then um, we have a new team. So this kind of just came to fruition, which is great because obviously, like I said, us playing the Arrows and the Bears 4 times in 1 year just turns into us hating each other, and it's just an ugly game. So they are, what is it, the Charm City Cannons?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Andrew Kim actually played with us in nationals last year. He ended up going and starting this team, which is awesome. I love Andrew, and I'm like, dude, this is great. It's going to help our region out a ton, having another team to play with. I mean, we have so much talent here that it's like, hey, just go and make another team. You'll be able to find players. You'll be able to find good players, and that way, we have 4 teams is perfect because then you can play each team twice and you get a full season in. I think 4 teams is great. So yeah, they should be a solid team this year. Excited to have them, and yeah, we're definitely really excited for this year. It looks like we have some new teams around the nation too. I mean, was it Thousand Island Spirits that I was talking with you about?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's playing in the Battle of the Barge? And
They are not going to be in the battle. We got the Oswego River Hawks in the Albany, or well, not Albany, but
Collar
they're out of
City,
Albany. Collar
Collar
City
City
Kings.
Kings. They're out of
Yeah.
Troy, their arena. It's just next to Albany, but Paul always calls them the Albany team. They
And,
they had a couple of guys that played for that Elmira team in the PBLA, and then one guy that was playing for the Bombers. They're pretty good team. They're especially when they have all their college guys. They're a very young team. I'm very curious to see how you guys. That was actually something I really wanted to see down at the championship, and Collar City did not have their best team. Paul will tell you that Collar
yeah.
City team is usually. It's going to make for a great game. I am so excited for the Battle on the Barge when he told me you guys were coming, especially after watching you guys play down in that Delaware tournament. I think the Yeti team versus you guys in Collar City is going to be awesome. That Oswego team, I can't wait to see too, because they were a bunch of young college kids that just started playing box, and the way they progressed throughout the season from the first game I watched them to the last game where they beat the Yeti. I mean, wow, did they come? That was a Awesome
Well,
job.
the first game, I think we put 30 goals on them, 30,
Yeah.
maybe 30-8, and then by the end of the season, we played four games as well, but they beat us by the end of the year. So, props to Dan and Doc up in Oswego, no question. And four teams does make it nice, so that and you're still able to get to other venues and play out of region teams, like with you guys coming up. That's awesome for us. It's great for the other teams in the region too. So pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I think looking back on nationals, we actually played Collar City, and they gave us a pretty good run for our money at nationals. I think it was like 12-9.
Yeah,
So
and they
they were definitely a tough team for sure.
yeah, and they were missing like their
Recording for their
they were
team.
missing
Yeah.
a lot of guys. One of their main goal scorers there, and he's actually a transition guy, but he's so much fun to watch. He had just had a baby. One of their defensive all stars there. He was out. I think he had a wedding as well. He might have been out with you somewhere, but he didn't make it to nationals either. They're a great team, and their goalie is actually how old is Deej? He's like close
He's
to
what he
60.
said, like 56,
Yeah,
57. He's getting up there.
and I tell you what, man, he is so like it's so much fun to watch him because he's not that big of a guy, but he is athletic and he still moves like crazy, and they're a lot of fun to watch, that team.
Yeah, I think when we played, I felt terrible because obviously I wasn't there, but I helped run the account, and somebody hit somebody on their team really hard in the crease, and he got like a concussion from it. And there's just a picture of somebody on the ground, like I don't know who it was, and I ended up posting it, and I was like, "Don't come through the middle, like against the wall," like joking around, and he was
Right.
like, "Not cool, dude," and I was like, "What?" And he is like, I got like a super bad concussion, couldn't play in the rest of the tournament because of that. Like, it's not something to joke about. I'm like, dude, I wasn't even there. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Like, this is like, I took it down immediately. I'm like, I
yeah,
apologize. I feel terrible. Like, obviously, if I known that, I wouldn't have posted it. But yeah, they were like, from what I saw, they were really good. And the Seattle team always really impresses me too.
He
yeah,
was a big goalie. As far as I was breaking their chops because we played the consolation game, which was supposed to be the third place game, but because of whatever happened, we got at the nationals. So I threw it out there. We won. Dave didn't play in goal, and their backup got the start and everything, but we beat them. So that made us third place.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I mean, going into it, I don't know what were your guys' thoughts going into it in terms of, obviously I mean, everybody looked at the rankings and the sides, and obviously I'm looking at the other side. I'm glad we're not on the other side because like I said, I only played in one IBLA championship, and I knew that like the Wheat Kings were very good, and I knew that the Grizzlies were very good. I never played the Yeti, and who was the other one on your guys' side? The North. North.
that main team.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I know that the Northmen were very good, and I'm like, shit, like that's a really tough side of the schedule. So obviously all the comments, hey, look at like the other side of the bracket, like they got like a cakewalk, and we're like, I don't know, we never played any of these teams before. I have no clue. But I knew the other side was like some heavy hitters. So it was just funny, I just put in the comments like the handshake emoji, like, all right, we'll see you there. Like, I don't know. We don't know what to expect. Like, we can go there and get our ass kicked. I have no idea.
Yeah. It was definitely a pretty interesting. I mean, obviously every team had their issues with traveling. Obviously, the out west people, I look to see what transpires and where we play it this year because that'd be awesome. I can't wait. But that's a lot of commitment, a lot of travel. I mean, that's a lot of money to get to the national. I think it was Beecher. How long did it take us? 9 hours? 8 hours, 9 hour drive, something like that.
I think it was 8 for you. It's 10 for me because I'm actually 2 hours away from Paul. I'm closer to Albany. I actually live closer to the Collar City team than I do to Paul. We just kind of meet online and do this every week. But yeah, I had no idea what box lacrosse was until the Firewolves moved into Albany 2 years ago, and I saw Paul there. He was my old college coach, and then I seen this Utica Yeti thing when I was trying to find him on Facebook. He's so good at social media that his personal account is the Yeti, but when you type in Paul Necker, it keeps showing up. So my wife was looking him up for me because I didn't have Facebook, and she found it, and then I had to start a Facebook account up or reactivate mine to message him. And yeah, I fell in love with box lacrosse. I wish I could get out there and run around. I got a surgery coming up. Hopefully, maybe by the end of next year, I'll be able to start running around again. We'll see. But yeah, I wish I found box lacrosse when I was younger because I was a hockey guy, played field lacrosse, and this sport is crazy. And like I said, I love that style that you guys play, just that fast transition, keep you on your toes. I was pretty impressed with yeah, especially come Sunday because that's where you really start to see some of these teams tire down and you can really see who's crisp with their passes and who can beat the floor and plays the change right. And it's interesting. I can't wait for the battle on the barge. I was pretty excited when you guys were coming. It would have been cool to get the Golden Bears there again, but they traveled up last year for it.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
next year. Maybe
yeah,
next year.
it took us a while to learn. Like I said, in those first few tournaments, it took us a while to learn how to play box lacrosse because we practiced once a week. We went out to this outdoor ring and we got out there and did some drills and we finally started to get it. I mean, we're obviously still not even close to what we could be if we wanted to obviously keep learning. But we still have those guys that stand up at the key and hold the stick up in the air like outdoor, like, hey, give me the ball and I'll dodge this guy. And it's just like those things don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously when we get tired, we're shooting shots from the outside and, trash shots that they're like, hey, let him shoot that. He'll save it. We pick it
Now,
up.
where do you guys now? Is there a lot of hockey rinks down by where you guys are? Is it easy for you to find space, or that's got to be a
No,
whole other obstacle, right?
it's horrible. Yeah. So we played last year at Columbia Ice Ring. That's, I guess, probably the closest. I couldn't even tell you what hockey teams are around us. We have a hockey. I guess we have something in the center of like Baltimore, but that's year-round ice, so we can't do anything there. Columbia gets melted down for like a month and a half, so that's where we played last year. But we do luckily in Canton, so our home ring is Du Burns, and it's a small field, but it's turf. It's probably the best arena that we have to play in. We practice in an outdoor ring called Alpha Ridge in Marriottsville, but we only practice there because it's $20 an hour compared to all the other stuff. Well, he was telling me how much it costs to rent that awesome place that you guys play the Battle of the Barge at. And he's like, yeah, $450 a game. I'm like, you're freaking kidding me? Like, that's incredible. That's like pro style box lacrosse like arena, and we're over here paying $600 an hour, or not $600. It's $600 for like one game just here in the one that we play in, and it's not even close to that.
Oh,
Wow.
that's terrible. Yeah, we are pretty spoiled. And one thing, Nexus Center, so part of that too is they bought all high-end video equipment. So the only thing I do is show up with my computer so I can stream it on our channel. But like it's all their camera gear that's integrated with their microphones and everything. Yeah, that Rob Esch and all those people out there in the Nexus Center have really done a bang up job of getting. Yeah, their junior team that plays there, like they have tape and everything. That whole program out there is pretty phenomenal.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out why, I wasn't there, so I can't speak on it, but why Ohio? Why did they pick that place in Ohio? I mean, if anything, like looking at something like that where it has the equipment, like in the Battle of the Barge, you guys were turning off the lights and had the spotlight on people. Like it was like playing in the NLL. Like why? Like that should be front runner for nationals, right? You would think.
I hope if anybody's
Someday,
watching that
someday.
has any sway,
Fingers are crossed.
we'll give you a huge
And-
Well, I
discount
mean,
on
like,
the streaming if we can do it in the backyard without having to rent the equipment. That would be amazing.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's not that far away from Ohio. I guess they picked Ohio because it was like middle ground of
Yeah.
the US, but I mean, you guys aren't far from that. And in terms of the actual arena itself, like you can't beat it. If we're trying to make this NABLL, legit, I loved everything that they did. They did it way, 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 way better than the IBLA in terms of streaming and everything. And you guys were a big contribution to that. You guys were cracking me up while I'm sitting there wasted in Texas, and you guys are.
We were waiting at the end of day 2. Let me tell you, there was a pretty good buzz going on.
Yeah,
it's
a good
yeah,
time.
but I mean, in terms of trying to grow what we have, it's like a no-brainer to me to have it at something like that, because it's basically NLL, but that's where the nationals will be held.
That would be
were you guys
phenomenal.
at IBLA the last year that it was
Last
done?
year, 2001. 2001, we were in the last year of the IBLA.
He was. Last year was my first year being involved, and my 15-year-old taught me how to do all this streaming. So
Nice.
I was banged up for the year, and I couldn't because my hips all messed up. So I can't really do much, and I was bored. So I had him teach me how to stream, and we started streaming. And now we're kind of doing this, and it's a good time. Thanks so much for joining us on here. This has been awesome so far. But we got to fit our commercial in real quick because we always forget about that. So hang tight, everybody. We'll be right back.
Great Fittings for all your underground utility, plumbing, HVAC, cements, solvents, irrigation, valve boxes.
My happy.
All your plumbing needs. Plumbing, irrigation, HVAC.
Fay Farms. Fay Farms, where the beef's at. Believe in 271. Nobody fights alone. You got a sweet tooth? Contact Nora's Candy. Black River Ale House. Go where the Romans go. Do what the Romans do. When in Rome, go to the Black River Ale House. Rome Sign and Display Company. Contact Terry down at Rome Sign. Nice Scoba, the men and women in blue. Thank you for what you do. George Kaler, Sales and Service. B-Dry Systems. Basements are wet? Contact B-Dry. Contact Russ down at Family Landscaping. Spring is near. Deming Lakeside Trailer Park. Eric Kiefer, LUTCF. Friend of the Yeti. Tri-City Lacrosse. MEM Photography. Mark Murphy. You need the shot? Contact Mark. Bag Square Brewing Company. A authentic German brewery with authentic German food. Stop down to Bag Square when you're in downtown Utica. Robert Dix Insurance Agency. Contact Bobby Dix for all your insurance needs. Clinton Tractor and Implement Company. CBI Cables. Plug in what the pros use. CBI Cables. Plug them in. Crafty Beach for all your personalized merchandise.
And we're back. Thanks, everybody. And check out the local sponsors. That is how we are able to do what we do and provide the entertainment for you guys. So thank you very much to all the sponsors. And we were talking to Brady a little bit during the break when the Battle on the Barge comes up. So all the teams in the NABLL, we're also going to be running a show for them starting next month. And we're going to try to get all your guys sponsors out there. We want everybody to send us some highlights so we can do like the top plays of the week, because once the NABLL season is up and rolling, we will definitely be doing those, but also just kind of helping guys figure out the website and stuff like that. There's some it's one thing that league does great is they have that development program, and so like you guys kind of learn box differently, but now it makes it easier for guys in your position coming from the field to that. You've got Dave Mathers and Tony Gray kind of helping with that player development, and the access to, I guess, the caliber of coaches you get. Like Paul's team actually has coaches, and they have Hall of Famer Neil Paulus out there. So I mean, the level of experience that you guys get to play against and with has got to be that's one of my favorite parts, is just watching, like your team, having Joel Tinney out there, just watching at moments where he's just flying up the floor like nobody can keep up with him, or getting to meet Spencer Love and watching him do backflips on the glass. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're both awesome, amazing players. I think one of the best parts about our team, and I don't know how you guys came to make the Yeti, but we all have been playing together since we were 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old. So me, Spencer Love, Nate Nibbling, Hunter Davis, we all, our goalie who actually he passed away, but Christian, we all ended up playing together from 4 years old playing at Freedom, Gamber, all these teams, these local teams, to going into middle school, playing on these travel teams, and then going into high school, and we all kind of separated and we all played against each other. And then we all went and played in college. And then we got out of college and we were like, playing on these indoor teams where it's not box. And then we have these out and we're like, hey, we all just kind of came together. We're like, all right, cool. Let's keep playing together and play this box stuff. And it's really cool just to have that camaraderie. So we all, you can see that on the field when you have that gel and everybody kind of meshes together.
Yeah, Paul's been watching some of these guys play since they were in diapers. They kind of similar story with the field. They run Tri-City Lacrosse because it's a bunch of the youth towns put together, and to kind of get away from the competition aspect in the summer. Like you said, you go to high school, everybody plays against each other. But these guys were smart enough to take and make like a local team where everybody didn't play based on towns. They drafted players, and I mean, you could talk a little bit more about Tri-City, Paul. You know a lot more about it than I do.
It's 40 years old, actually, as far as
that,
and that's where our a major part of the Yeti came from, was Tri-City Lacrosse. It was a men's summer recreational league, and it just grew and grew. We started a youth program in about 15 years ago, and from there, each town has their own programs. We put together travel teams, and, we go to tournaments, Lake Placid. All of it's field, though. So 2 years ago, I was like, with the IBLA, I was contacted, and he wanted to put another team in this area. So I was like, I'm 100% in. After I went up to the championships the year before during the pandemic and watched Maine play one of the other teams up in the Massachusetts area, and I was like, this is a no-brainer. I mean, what I'm watching is what I never really got into the field or the NLL. I watched the games, I went to the games, but it's so fast where you really, sometimes, if you don't know what's going on in the NLL, you can say, what the freak is this shit? This is just it's mayhem out there, until you start to learn a little bit of the game and everything. And that's what, over the course, like Greg said, having Neil Paulus, Tony Sorsey, guys that have been around the game, it was, we're going on year 3 where half the team never played box lacrosse before. And after playing now for 3 years, going to the tournaments down in Philadelphia, going out to Detroit, going down to Dover. Half the team went over to Prague and played over in Prague this past summer. The amount of lacrosse, box lacrosse these guys are playing, it's now elevated their game where I don't care what anybody says. Obviously, you go into, we're not Canada, but to say we're senior A, I don't know. I'm going to, some of the teams that we play clearly aren't senior A, but I love to think that, you want to know what? The level that the Wild played, the level that the Yeti played, the Eels played, the Tyler Kings play, and many, many, many other of the teams, you guys take pride in. We take pride in what we're building. You want to know what? It's something special. I think it's a great sport. The amount of reps that you get for the youth. We want to go cradle to grave. The next step is building that youth concept with box.
Yeah, it'll be 5-10 years before you start to see the work that you guys running these organizations and getting some of these youth programs to see it before you really see, that turnaround. Because the adults, you kind of can pick it up, but it's I don't know, it's not the same as the kids. Once you get a kid who's done it from the time he's 10 years old or even younger, some of these guys will start playing. But
it's not for everybody though either, Greg.
No, some guys play box and
field lacrosse and box
like,
lacrosse.
nope.
You got field lacrosse players, and there's kids that, you want to know what? They don't want to be hammered on like that. I'm stepping out, tapping out. I'm done. I ain't touching that. Where it's a special kid that wants to get in there and bump hips. I mean, it's not for everybody, and I hope it doesn't scare the parents, because the parents are watching pros play, and now kids, it's no different from NLL or the NLL or PLL or any other sport. These kids, they want to go out there and be the next Brady Sites or be the next Nick Suits.
The kids watching you guys was cool. So when the Bears came up, that was a big thing the Bears did. Like, you guys had a bunch of kids there, and they asked the one kid got a stick broken over him, and they asked him to sign the stick, and he ended up playing in the PBLA. It was cool. But Jeff in the comments just said 25 years of youth for Tri-City this year.
Yeah.
So,
25 years, Jeff. I'm guessing that's
Schneider.
Jeff from starting the Bull East, and that's 25 years. It's flown by.
Yeah, it's crazy. So now we do got to talk a little bit about the NLL. I know we've been talking about everything else so far, and it's been great, but we supposedly are a show that covers something of the NLL. Do you, Brady? Do you watch a lot of the box, or?
I haven't been. I've been very busy with work this year, so I haven't been able to watch a ton of it. I do follow it, some. I think, I was about to say, I know the Bandits, and then on the other side, it's the Seals, I believe, are doing pretty well.
And Calgary. So I actually got hooked up with a kid out of Calgary this year, and I tell you, that team is a lot of fun to watch. They've got a transition style. It's a fun. Yeah, they're one of my favorite teams to watch now. I mean, the San Diego's good. Buffalo, they've got a really fun style, but like their game this week was a huge goalie show. Like, I mean, and I do like watching the saves, but I prefer to see, a 15, 16 goal game. I want to see some action.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially when I'm watching these guys, and I kind of get spoiled I've watched so much of you guys play now, and when I watch them, and you're like, come on, guys, pick it up a little bit here. But it's a lot easier said from the top now. You get a lot of people who watch it, and that how hard was it for you to kind of figure out if you guys were going to go with lines or play offense defense when you were figuring the box, or what was the hardest like transition for you guys coming into box, would you say?
Obviously that was massive for us, is learning how to, hey, get off the field because we need to get these people back, or else you're going to get scored on every transition. So there's a lot of tournaments where, somebody shoots and stares at it, and then all of a sudden the goalie picks it up and you turn around and there's a person behind you and they're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
So we're slowly, and I'll be honest, we're still not good at that. It's very hard to get your mind off of, an outdoor, you shoot, you miss, and it goes out of bounds.
Yeah, and so you're running. Yeah. Whoever the X guy is running, or your crease guy. But like you said, you're just kind of waiting. As long as you're in position, you get the ball back. And that's why I say I think that's one of the biggest advantages to teaching the kids is the amount of reps you get with those rebounds, picking up loose balls in traffic, I think is a huge advantage that the box players have. I don't know, like you were saying, is when you watch a lot of these top level pros, it's their ability to maneuver in traffic. And it's not that they shoot 100 miles an hour from the outside, but they have like these pinpoint accurate shots that maybe aren't the fastest shot in the world, but it's just laser accuracy in tight space, and like the passing is just next level.
I'll tell you, I would say two things that I've noticed just, watching, and especially with Joel, after Joel joined the team, and especially in this past tournament they played in Delaware. One thing is obviously knowing the game helps tremendously. So, obviously our goalie that we just picked up, Brian, he's incredible. We grabbed him from the Arrows, and he's been a game changer. He's great. He knows box very well, and he's like, hey, when you're on defense, like, you don't think about it when you're playing, but when the ball goes into the corner and there's 8 seconds left on the clock, like, don't pick it up. Just box the guy out. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't think about that kind of thing when you're playing. You're like, I'm gonna pick it up because I want to, it's human nature when you're playing lacrosse. But just little things like that, like knowing the game, hey, the shot clock's undefeated. Don't pick it up because then they blow the whistle and we get it and we get to run it down their throat. Like, just don't even do it. Stuff like that. And then, but like I said, the biggest thing I think I saw was, it's incredible to watch these kids that grow up playing box, how good they are at finishing. It's a completely different, that's what we are not good at. So if we get a fast break, like we do shootouts at the end of every practice and we're still not good at one. So it's just,
as you were going through college and high school and youth, was it shooting from behind the back. You scoop one up in the middle of the crease, and
Is the coach screaming at you if you shot behind the back?
Was it a coach screaming at you?
I've gotten yelled at in games because I've shot behind the back before, so it wasn't really a thing in outdoor for us, and it was more or less like, I was a fat right-handed sniper, so when I got the ball in a one-on-one, I just did a little fake up high and I'm dropping it down low. There's no, it's a big net, you're gonna score.
Right.
But in indoor, watching that team that we played in Delaware,
that GLA team.
They had I don't know where they were
Great
from.
Lakes. They're a bunch of native kids. That one kid was 14.
Yeah, I mean, they were just a bunch
insane.
of native guys that look like they played together, and like you can just tell, like when they get a one-on-one, it's like they don't think about it. It's just bam, right in the corner. It's like, and us, we're like,
Right.
and it's the same thing with Joel. Same thing with Joel. He came playing from when he was tiny, and when you watch him go one-on-one against the goalie, it's just so easy to him. But then you can tell when it's another person who has played out there their whole life, it just looks a little awkward. So I guess it's just repetition at that point, because literally, I'm not kidding, we do shootouts at the end of every practice for fun. We make it a game. Like if you score, you stay. If you miss, you get off, and whoever's the last one standing wins. And we're still not good at it. So it's so frustrating. But we just have fun out there. So we just make fun of people every time somebody goes down and gets stuffed on a one-on-one. We're like, dude, we do these at the end of every practice. Like,
yeah,
but
no.
yeah, I mean, it's just a flow of the game. I don't know. I guess, like I said, when we were playing that native team, they probably had 1/6 of the shots that we had, but their shots, when they did shoot, they were just staying in corners,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you notice it a couple times there. They do that. Collar City does this too, where they'll just leave a guy. They'll play you shorthanded on defense just to see if you're going to drop somebody back. They're like, nah, that's fine. We'll just do it.
I've never understood that. I've always looked at. I mean, I guess if you catch the person off guard, it makes sense to me. But then when it gets to the point where you just have the two people standing back there, like for us, that's great for us because we get space. It's like that's fine with us, because if you give us more space, we're going to be a better team. So I never really understood that, but I get it if you're like Joel does it sometimes, where he'll go behind the goal and kneel down and act like he's trying to shoot type of deal. And I'm like, I guess that's just how they grew up. They know the tricks.
Yeah, no, I think that is a lot of it is when you see the teams as guys that want the space even for their offense, or when they know their defense is fast enough that you can kind of cover the space distance. It seems to be a huge thing. And it always blows my mind too, though, because I'm like, what are you doing? And I know some teams, Collar City, they do it a lot because they don't necessarily have enough guys, because they're a very like a lot of guys on their team, they're always kind of come and go. Oh, thanks, hon. Nice enough to bring me coffee. Tea. Not too late for that. But yeah, so they're really good at, but they do it all the time. And you see, like you said, if they can catch you off guard, and their goalie, one reason they do it is because Deej, they know if they keep the shots to the outside, chances are he's gonna stop it. Unless you beat him on that cross crease pass, because part of him being a smaller guy, he has to come way out. So he'll come out and play the angle, and they just kind of lock down that cross feed. And it's an interesting way of doing it. And I've never known if I would quite pull the trigger on it, but
got to try different things sometimes. That's for sure.
yeah,
Not a bad thing. If it's working, you go with it. If it's not working so much, I guess you scrap that idea and you look to find something else. I think every time I've seen them, they do it. Their bench is definitely a little bit lighter, so it tends to be, I think, just trying to save air for the next run.
Now, the shorter season, that's going to change up some of the schedules. Now, your team, how do you feel the shorter season works out for you, Brady, as far as do you guys have some college guys, or do you have a lot of coachings that kind of run into conflicts later in September? Or?
I think it will honestly. So this year we made it a point to schedule outside games out of the region. So obviously you guys at the Battle of the Barge is a big one for us. That's kind of like a preseason, hey, it's going to count in our games, but this is before our region games.
Exactly.
And it'll be a huge test for us because obviously everybody in that is awesome. So we're definitely going to be traveling as lighter than we would like. We're not going to be able to bring Brian, who's our goalie, so that's going to hurt us a lot. But our backup goalie's great too. We've been teaching him; he's awesome. But I think the shorter season's
for
fine.
him to get a lot of reps.
This year we kind of made the decision last year. I did a lot of like, hey, you're reaching out to college guys at Towson, Maryland, wherever, saying, hey, come play box. If you guys want to play box, come play box. And we ended up getting a lot of like really good players to come out. But we kind of forgot that like when you're in college and you're off for summer, like you don't want to play lacrosse. Like you're out to have fun and do all this stuff. And we get that. And you're working a job just to pay for beer. And like we completely understand. So we ended up having guys that would start with us. And then towards the end of the season, they just kind of, floated off. So this year, we were like, hey, if college guys want to come out, obviously we'll give them a shot, but we need to set a precedent. Like, hey, you guys need to commit to us and say, hey, if we do go to, nationals or whatnot, then you guys are going to come with us. Last year, I will say, so we had Josh Sanchez who plays at Salisbury. He's great. He didn't end up coming to nationals, but he was awesome. We had a kid named Ellison Burt Murray who plays at Marquette, just a stud, so fast. Ended up playing like 2 games with us, then kind of fell off. Love all of them. A guy from Towson, Jordan Hayes, I believe it was, a defensive midi, a beast, so good. But honestly, I don't know if you guys watch D3 at all, but a kid from not St. Mary's. I forget where he played in D3 last year, but he led all D3 in goals. His name's Jude Brown. He grew up here in Westminster, and he played with us 1 game. And it was when we had Little Abner's, who was like our wild team scrimmage, the new guys, like the college guys. And this kid's ridiculous. Like I want him to play with us so bad because he's just like he's never played box before in his life, and it's just incredible. So I'm hoping he comes out and plays with us because he's a stud. He had, I think, like 7 goals against like our wild team, like by himself. Yeah, he was just an absolute animal. We ended up switching goalies because we had Brian, who's our goalie, and they had the backup, and he had 4. And literally first play, we put in Brian on the other side, and he just goes down and just smacks a corner. And we're like, he's just really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he plays at Salisbury right now, and he's a stud. I mean, he's filthy. Him and Cross Ferrara are just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's one thing. I don't watch a ton of field. I definitely guilty of that. I watch, the NLL, and then I love watching this stuff, and that's kind of how I got into filming it, was just making highlights and trying to learn how to do it. And it's been an absolute blast. Your team is so much fun to watch. Paul, we've been doing this for an hour already.
I tell you, it flies by.
It does every night. Yes.
It does fly.
Well, thank you so much, Brady. We really appreciate it. And Paul, why don't you give us some of that info about Battle on the Barge so everybody knows to look forward to? And if you want to do another shout out for your tryouts coming up in a week.
Absolutely. June 3rd and 4th. Well, let's start with the tryouts. Tryouts are going to be April 23rd at the Nexus Center. Information is off of the Instagram. Hit the link. Fill out the page. It's $50 to try out. It's going to be at the Nexus Center from 10 a.m. is registration, and we're done by 2. From there, we get into the Battle of the Barge. Battle on the Barge is June 3rd and 4th at the Nexus Center. Beecher's clicking through a bunch of different things on there.
That's so everybody can see how to register up for the team. So everybody knows you can go on there, and that's right where on the Instagram, how you follow everything. All the info for Battle on the Barge and everything is here. You guys had a great time with the Axe Squatch games.
Axe Squatch was awesome. Incredible time. As far as I definitely recommend it. Actually, she's from Maryland. I'll get more information out to you. Something you guys, and they take it on the road. They have a traveling machine. They're going to be at the Battle on the Barge. They'll set it up on the outside, and it's pretty awesome as far as that goes.
Yeah,
it's
like a portable trailer, right? They show right up with a
portable
trailer and it's
trailer.
got axe targets and you just throw it and yeah, it sounds like good time.
Yeah, $5 I think they charge for 10 throws, and yeah, it's a nice little competition type thing. You don't have to know what you're doing. They're a great sponsor as far as sponsors, but as far as June 3rd and 4th, Saturday we'll probably get going. I'm saying probably 10 o'clock in the morning and get our games in. We're still working on a youth program and also the women's program, but we're also having a master's game that's going to be involved. So as far as that information, more of that information is
All
coming out.
games
But,
will be streamed on this on the Utic Yeti channel too, so make sure you guys just tell everybody and you guys can all post it. So a week before, or as soon as we get the schedule finalized, we'll have the
yep.
games all listed, so everybody will be able to share the social links with their team's games, with the exception of the the championship games. We'll have to kind of. Are you doing a straight schedule round robin thing? How is it playing out?
Straight schedule. Three because everybody can only have so many games with the NABLL
Gotcha.
rules, so we can't overdo our games. That's the only bad thing. But on the same note, I guess it is what it is, and we're getting to play some awesome competition, and everybody's getting to see out of region games, so that's pretty cool. Very excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, what is the best way if anybody is in the Westminster area? How do people follow you guys?
Yeah, so this year we're really ramping up kind of our outreach. So we're going to be doing 2 or 3 different kids clinics to try to grow box lacrosse, trying to get John Grant Jr. out there. He coaches at Gerstel right in Westminster. So just trying to really grow the game here and teach, like you said, teach the parents, hey, like box isn't a bad thing. So follow us on Instagram. We'll have those out there, and yeah, just trying to obviously teach the parents, hey, field is great, but if you want them to be amazing at field, play box.
Absolutely. Amen to that.
I like
Amen to
it.
that.
All right, let's end on that. Thanks so much, Yeti Nation. Next week we should be back on Wednesday. Granted, my hip operation goes good and I can figure out how to operate. Well, I guess get into the studio on my crutches will be the big thing. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.